Hi, we're the Wanderers. My name is Allison,
My name's Aaron.
My name's Kai.
My name is Kaylee.
and today we're going to be discussing the issue of considering social media in hiring practices. So, with the current state of the economy, securing a job is even more crucial than ever. It's important to consider what factors your future employer may consider in the hiring process, such as skill level, suitability to work culture, etc. However, one factor many applicants overlook these days is your public image, specifically your presence on social media. Social media is a powerful tool, yet many should be wary of the digital footprint you leave. If there are clear indications that an individual has conflicting values and opinions that are supported by those in the workplace, an employer should consider how those negative impressions influence the group. From a logistical perspective as well, costs are reduced as you foster company loyalty, and individuals feel empowered when management considers their needs as a priority. Many companies today are scouring every form of social media as a way to reevaluate an applicant's eligibility for reasons of improving the overall hiring practice, contributing to a lower employee turnover rate, and enhancing workplace safety. We support the argument to examine social media profiles upon considering prospective employees. More specifically, Chris should not be considered as an eligible candidate due to his social media presence online. To provide clarity, we would like to provide the following definitions. First, social media can be defined by a website or application that allows its users to post, create, repost, and share content. While work culture can be defined as the collection of values, beliefs, and attitudes that define how people interact and behave in a workplace. Now I'm going to hand it off to Aaron, who's going to start with our arguments.
Yeah, so for our first argument, we believe that social media screening can improve hiring practices. So many hiring companies will already have guidelines for social media screening in place. So it should be used as a tool and it should enhance decision making. It shouldn't be the end all be all. And according to Roy Marr, 39% of companies allow candidates to explain any concerning information that they found. So this indicates many jobs are allowing and providing a way for the candidate to explain themselves if there is any incriminating evidence on their social media. The reason why this is the case is because it can ruin a company's reputation if the hired candidate engages in any like inappropriate behavior because it can reflect really badly on the company.
Our next point we'll be discussing is how removing ineligible candidates will improve profits in the long run. More specifically, how are we going to lower employee turnover rate when implementing social media background checks? According to the article, Why Social Media Checks Are Important for Employment by Tim Hardy, approximately 20% of employees resign due to their association with a toxic colleague. While performance is an important factor in a job, personality is more heavily stressed. Many companies emphasize the importance of fostering a good working environment as it cultivates productivity, company loyalty, and increased well-being in their employees. Yet, the statistic provided is a clear indication of the consequences of allowing an individual with controversial personality traits into your work environment. Generally, people remember their interactions with others not based on the context of the conversation, but the lasting impression on how they felt. Individuals are very unlikely to keep working at their current job when they are forced to continually interact with individuals who make them feel unwelcome. Furthermore, additional emotional stress is added when an individual must go to extended lengths to avoid that certain controversial person. And if employees' resignation were attributed to this, it wastes the time, effort, and money poured into every single employee that could happen to. And from a cost analysis perspective as well, businesses do not profit from hiring candidates that are unsuitable to the work culture. Managers must think of the long-term benefits when they hire individuals that align more with a company's work culture.
And then moving on to the final piece of our argument, we believe that social media screening can improve workplace safety as well. So social media is able to reveal insights about a person's character, such as if they post disturbing or violent things, it could be an indication of them as a person. According to Ryan Brewer, who is a director of sales and marketing at Pinnacle, he states how employers will use social media screening to look for an overall pattern of behavior. So whenever an employer is going through social media, they're not pinpointing one specific instance or two specific instances. it's if they see an overall pattern of that behavior, then they will take that into account because this could be exemplified in the workplace, and the main goal is to keep the workplace safe.
To wrap up our argument, we believe the best course of action is to move forward with the post found on Chris's social media profile and terminate his application. The posts on his page support conflicting topics that would be detrimental to both the work culture and environment, as personality plays a very influential role in how one builds relationships and how they affect others. As social media is a public source that is open to the general public, Chris's posts are a clear reflection that would not be suitable to the type of environment that our company is working hard to promote. Social media screening should be utilized in hiring practices as it removes that future uncertainty of questionable behavior that may be revealed. For these reasons, we ask that you vote yes in support of adding social media to the consideration of Chris's job candidacy.
So, do you believe that what you do in your social life should affect your odds at getting hired for a job? When employers have the ability to check a person seeking a job's social media, they get access to that person's social life, which does not coincide with how that person may be as an employee. I want to bring up a point about how people use social media differently. A good example of this is someone's LinkedIn versus an Instagram account. LinkedIn is for a professional standpoint, whereas Instagram is just for a social standpoint. This will bring us to our next point about how a person's social life differs from their professional life. These candidates for a job have hobbies and personal goals which should not be used to determine if they get hired for a job. Lastly, employers can use what a person posts on social media to create biases or discriminate against them. This could happen unknowingly, but either way, it would not be a factor if the employers did not have access to that person's social media. And I also would like to say that we agree with the definitions that the pro side presented. And for our course of action, we believe hiring managers should only look at a candidate from a professional standpoint and not consider their social life. Only information that is directly given and shared with the employer is to be considered. The candidate's ability to complete a job is not reliant on their life or interests outside of work. To solve this problem, employers should remove social media background checks in their hiring practices. Therefore, Chris's post online should not affect his chances of getting the VP of Communications position.
I wanted to talk about argument one and how we need a distinct boundary from professional social networking apps and social media platforms. If companies wanted to do background checks on their prospective employees, they should use professional social networking sites like LinkedIn instead of apps or social media accounts like Facebook or Twitter. Apps like Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter were made as social media and to share visuals and stories and to join groups with people who have similar interests. Bradenberg writes, in the newest way to screen job applicants, users can find on Facebook more than 500 groups and 500 events that contain the search term sex using a basic Facebook search. Some named I'm a Sex in the City addict, or Girls Who Love Sex, or Casual Sex at IU. Are we to judge someone hypothetically, a candidate for a job, who is interested in what they're interested in outside of work? In this technologically advanced society, we must draw a clear line between personal and professional life and interests. These groups that people join on Facebook are not intended for potential employers to see because it involves their own interests, not their interests at work. And with this logic, when a current or potential employer sees an employee or candidate's page, they shouldn't discount a final candidate for posting on a social media app. And argument two, Kai will introduce.
Thank you. So we believe that it is unethical for a company to look at what a candidate posts on social media and base their decision off of their findings. For example, if a candidate posts about political views or sexual orientation and the employer does not agree with them, they may get denied the job for reasons that should be protected. So in the Harvard Business Review article, it states, but a significant share of profiles contain details that companies may be legally prohibited from considering, including gender, race, and ethnicity. So if this candidate checks all of the boxes and the employer denies them the job because of a bias, then that company may be in for legal trouble. So in the article by Noah Bertlatsky, he explains this very scenario. The university was forced to make a $125,000 out-of-court settlement to a UK-born scientist who, despite being the best fit for a director-level job, was turned down after being found to have expressed creationist views online. So in this situation, the university that denied the scientist faced legal issues for their own bias against the scientist's beliefs, which led to him being denied the job. So later in this article, the author comes to the conclusion that it will be difficult to fulfill jobs because of how accessible private information is online. And the quote is, "But I think it's worth pointing out that even if we in HR don't like something we see about a candidate on a social networking site, we have to be grown-ups and accept that we need to fill positions and work with people who may have different interests and private lives." So I believe this quote shows that it is disadvantageous to base a company's hire off of a candidate's social media activity. And Kaylee will present argument 3.
Argument three is social media background checks can lead to discrimination based on protected class information like sex, race, religion, or marriage status, also transgender status and pregnancy. And therefore, companies should use third-party background reporting businesses to screen candidates through a professional account. It is the question of discrimination arises and could cause more trouble for the companies in the long run. A study researched by Sichuan students said that the ever-increasing debate of discrimination and privacy will be expected to rise in the future as there's no clear or universal policy that utilizes social networking information and hiring practices. Third-party companies provide compliant employment screening processes and filter out protected class information, and it focuses solely on business-related information. This issue matters because it could affect all students who are going into their careers after college, because they could be discriminated against and denied a job for having a certain religion, gender, disability, or even race. And that concludes our argument. Based on all of what we said so far, we think that the best course of action is to negate the findings found on Chris's social media profile. The posts on his page do not prove his ability to complete a task or his work ethic. Chris applied for the position with having done well in the interviews, with glowing referrals and a strong resume. He was also doing his activities on his own personal time, and his posts were made on his personal profile. In this growing technological society, we need more rights for workers and protection from discrimination and privacy. Life outside of work will be infringed upon if background checks are not upheld without proper execution. Because Chris is a well-qualified candidate, we ask you to please vote in negation of allowing the findings on Chris's social media profiles to affect his job candidacy. Thank you. That completes our argument.
Okay. And then just for the rebuttal, the con side made great points, and I just wanted to discuss one of your points about discrimination. Well, I believe that there are legal risks and potentials for discrimination. I believe that employers can resolve a lot of these issues by employing these guidelines for the procedures, and then also by having a social media background checks being fair and ethical. Discrimination is also already legally prohibited in the workforce, and there are some acts like the Equal Employment Opportunity Acts, which regulates that you can't hire based on like race or sex. And I believe that if social media can be a great tool that can be utilized to enhance the hiring process. Thank you.
So I just wanted to include that the pro side provided valid arguments that are thought-provoking. They argue that social profile screening lowers cost and employee turnover rate, enhances workplace safety, and influences company positive impressions. But all of these arguments do not prove character, that a worker will be a good hire. Chris also did well in his interviews and had stellar referrals in his professional character. Overall, we believe that employers checking a job candidate's social media does not have a positive impact on their hiring process. Thank you.